Hey YouTubers, it's Bobby with KCA Ranch and Homestead. We're back with part 4 of the rabbit cage build. Today's video will be all about building an automatic waterer with a 5-gallon bucket. Let's get right to it. Well, the first thing you're going to need for your watering system for your rabbits is going to be a bucket. Lucky for us, we have a friendly grocery store here in Kingwood that gives us free frosting buckets if they have any available when we go grocery shopping. As you can see, I chose one of my favorites, vanilla buttercream. I may or may not have done a taste test after I brought it home. Probably not, because that would be gross, right? Sure is good though. 5-gallon bucket, I believe. It actually looks a little taller, but it is a 5-gallon bucket. It's got a nice lid that seals with a rubber gasket inside, closes down tight. It has, I believe, 4 of these little tabs that you kind of pull out and lift to open. And what you got to do, at least for the fitting that I use that I got from Lowe's hardware store, is drill with a hole saw. If you have a hole saw, I didn't say pole saw, that would be a mess. Pole saws for cutting limbs. That is a 1 1/4 inch hole with a pole saw because I had about a 1 1/8 inch fitting, and I had to go a little large. I couldn't get it in with the 1 inch hole. Anyway, it's a threaded fitting that goes inside the bucket and outside the bucket and fits together with 2 rubber gaskets, and it has a hose barb coming off of it that you can stick the PVC tubing onto. And I'm going to show you all that in just a minute. I just wanted to show you this cool bucket. It's got a nice little semi-padded grip so it doesn't cut into your hand when you're carrying 30 pounds of water or whatever 5 gallons is. And anyway, we'll be back. Okay, as usual with the Bobby project, I did something wrong. I drilled the hole a little too close to the bottom, so the inside of my fitting was rubbing on the bottom, so I had to just use a spade bit, like a little wood bit, just to barely make it a little bit higher hole. Luckily the washers inside and out are big, so it didn't really matter. I tested it, it doesn't leak. But basically this is a fitting you can find in the plumbing section at Lowe's or Home Depot. On the inside, that piece is threaded and it sticks through the hole towards the outside, and there's a black washer you can see there. It's pretty thick, but I've got it tight so it's smushed up against the side of the bucket. So this part here is actually part of the inside piece that sticks through, and the black thick washer goes on the inside. You want the most waterproof protection on the inside. So then after you stick that through the hole from the inside, this piece threads on, and it's got a white flat washer. It's not really rubber, it's more of a nylon, just to make a seal. Your actual waterproof protection is on the inside with the big black rubber washer. So let's see how this works with our rabbit system. This part here on the inside is threaded as well, and the kit comes with different size barbs. I bought the 5/16 kit, so that is a hose barb. I don't know if you can see the little barbs on there. Probably not. But that is threaded as well. So what I'm going to do is wrap this in plumber's tape, pipe tape, you know, the white nylon looking tape. And then that threads, directly into that. Make that tight, and then you stick your PVC tubing right there on that hose barb. And I'm also going to use a little hose clamp, like a little radiator clamp, but a hose clamp that you tighten up just for an extra protection. And that's how your gravity fed system's going to work. Now the problem is I don't really have a good place to hang it. I'm not sure if I'm going to run my tubing to the back so it won't be in the way, or to the front. Obviously for maintenance and everything it'd be easier in the front and for install, but I don't know if I want to come way up here and do drops all the way down like that with my feeders in the way. If I run it to the back, and I do have a little room to get behind the cage to set everything up, then everything will be out of the way and I wouldn't have to do those long drops from the top to the bottom and waste tubing. Not that it's super expensive, but I got a feeling I'm going to need more later as the tube kind of gets frayed and sun rotted. So let me do some thinking on how I'm going to set this up. I was thinking about if I hang the bucket on a hook here at this top of the cage, then I'll have enough drop with my tubing either way I go to get enough gravity out of the bucket. And once again, the purpose of doing this is so you don't have to mess with those expensive little plastic water bottles that have to be cleaned out and refilled every few days. This right here will let me be able to go out of town for the weekend and make sure there's enough water. Have a neighbor, one of the neighbor kids or something, just check and make sure nothing's leaking and make sure they have food. But it makes it a lot easier, especially during the summertime when they're drinking a lot of water, and those water bottles that cost 11, 12 bucks each just don't hold a lot. They definitely don't hold 5 gallons. So let me map out my tubing and then I'll show you the system with the rabbit watering nipples and the little springs and clips that hold the nipples in place, and the little plastic tees that you attach the tubing with. And we'll be back. Okay, I'm gonna wrap some Teflon pipe tape on my little hose barb here. Remember, always go clockwise with your wraps on normal threads, right hand threads, I guess you call it. About 3 wraps, I guess. Having a little difficulty here because I don't know if I'm in the camera or not. One more. There we go. All sealed up. Let me give this a little turn. I think I got it tight all the way, but I just want to make sure. Now these threads on these fittings, they go left instead of right. You'll find that out real quick when it starts loosening. Alright, we're all good. got the PVC tubing off of Amazon, and I'll put links in the description later. I have had some people tell me to use black tubing to restrict algae growth, but I also watched some videos where people had theirs out for 2-3 years and only had just very minor algae, and algae doesn't really hurt the rabbits anyway. So this is going to go on here. I'm going to use a little hose clamp. You might recognize these, just to make sure it stays secure on there. I get impatient. These are the little rabbit watering nipples. When the rabbit bites down, see that moving? It allows the water to come out. And these also have a hose barb on the end that go on here. I have some little plastic tees. I'm not real sure they're going to hold up very well, but they are also barbed on each end. So you'll have to make some cuts. Put these on, drop down to your drinker, to your nipple, and keep going to the next cage. And I know I'm probably off center on the camera, but I'll show all this after I get it set back up. These also come with these nipples have a hook that goes on the cage and then a spring. So what you do is attach the spring to one wire of the cage, and then you stretch it over until you can barely hook that over another wire, and then it's tight. And the rabbits, this comes in through to the rabbits like that. The rabbits can drink out of it. But I'll show you how to do all that. I really need a camera person. I'll be glad when my wife gets back from Seattle in 2 to 3 days. Her nephew just had a baby up there, and she's babysitting the other 2 kids that they have while they're getting out of the hospital and everything, getting settled in. Shout out to Scotty and Junie in Seattle. Okay, I'm going to make a little cross brace and a little support for the water bucket. So I'm just going to run a 4-foot 2x4 across here. And the bucket will rest on this, and probably another board. Bucket will rest here, and probably another board to make it a little thicker right here. And then the corner of the bucket will sit up against this, about 4-inch little overhang for support. And then I'll probably just run a little bungee cord around it or something. Still be able to pop the lid off and run a water hose up in it. Let's take a look. Yeah, I love these little clamps. I use them all the time, especially when you're working by yourself. Looking good. Just gonna put another little board on there to widen up the support. Yeah, I could probably put another little piece on there. What the heck? Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. I could add another board, but I'm going to have it bungeed up there anyway, or wired up there so it won't fall. I've got it on the shade side of the cage. Most of the sun's going to be coming from this side of the cage. I didn't want to put it over here. Sun heats up the water. Rabbits do not like hot water. They like cool water. In fact, in the summer I'll probably be putting some frozen water bottles in there for them to lay around on. Also saw a tip about using tile, ceramic tile. Put it in the freezer, put it in there, and for a few hours it cools them off during the hottest part of the day. Anyway, see the little watering nipple there, or barb, hose barb. And I'm going to figure out now my path for my PVC. I've never seen it done on any videos or rabbit cages in person, but I really think I'm leaning towards putting the waters in the back, just to keep them out of the way of the doors and the feeders, and to keep it off of the direct sunlight, which produces algae and heats up the water. So I may try that. I'll probably regret it when I start installing them in the wire and trying to squeeze my fat butt in here, but it'll be worth it if I can keep the water a little cooler and have a little less algae in it. So we shall see. I'll be back. Hey guys, I'm going to try to show you how to attach one of these rabbit nipples. It's going to be kind of hard to do with one hand, but I'll try. I've got one installed here on the back of this cage. I went ahead and put 2 tiny zip ties around it just to make it more secure, pretty secure. Obviously make sure the little trough part is on the bottom, not the top. The rabbit will come up and bite down on that little stem and the water will come out, hopefully. Did a little research on the height. Full-grown rabbits, they said about 8 inches. It makes them stretch up, so I may have to move these. I did it 7 inches just because I'm not sure what size rabbits I'm going to get. I'm not sure if they're going to be full-grown. I don't think they're going to be. So I went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches ish. I may have to move them up later if it's just to make sure it's comfortable for the rabbit when they get full-grown. Anyway, let me try to attach one of these. So the easiest way to do it is to attach the spring first. Don't try to hook it. Let me get over here in the sun, maybe you can see better. No. So don't try to hook it with the hook and then try to stretch the spring. So what you want to do is try to get that spring around that wire, and it's hard for me to see. There, see how it snapped on? See how it snapped on? Now I got a little stretch. And then I'm going to make sure my little nipples on top, trough on the bottom. And then I'm going to stretch around that wire. Now it's in there pretty good. I'm not real happy with that wobble. That's why I put 2 little zip ties around it. The rabbits will probably chew it off or something or whatever, but I just don't like the chance of the rabbit pushing on it and it coming off like that. It's pretty simple. And then your PVC tube is going to come off of here. You may go up and over to the next one. Up, over to the next one, drop down to the nipple. That's how you do it. Alright, well, with the help of Daisy, cold drink, I was able to get the 3 water nipples put in. Kind of put them in the middle because I'm not sure where I'm going to put the nesting box when I need a nesting box, so I just kind of left it in the middle. This one probably won't have a nesting box, this small cage, so I'll just kind of put it here. So basically the PVC is going to run out of there, run around to the back, come down to that, come down to that, come down to that. And then I'll have to make some type of stopper on the end of that T, since there won't be a need to keep running with the PVC tubing. I'll probably attach a small piece, fold it back on itself, and zip tie it so the water can't keep running. I'll be back after I get some PVC and some T's installed. I got my water bucket with a little bit of water in it. Got the PVC hooked up. Don't really have it exactly where I want it, so I left the zip ties kind of loose. But I did see a video where you got to try to get the air out of the lines. So that one seems to be working. Gonna have to move down the line a little bit. I tried to put a slope to it. Looking good. Got a little pinch in that line right there. I'm going to redo that one. As you can see, I have that end tied off with zip ties to try to keep it from coming out there. So right now, if I stuck a rabbit in here and showed him where the water was, he should be able to lick or bite that and get some water. Let's check the other ones. Looking good. I'm going to do some fine tuning. I think that's just neater than sliced bread. Bam. If I was a rabbit, I would want to be owned by Bobby Minshew. Let's try it again. What the hell? Yeah, these little kinks in the hose, I'll cut it too short just because I've never done this. Doesn't seem to be hurting anything. Alright guys, kind of finished up. Got a 1, 2, and 3. I got my lines how I want them, with just a little bit of slope from beginning to end. My bucket's not leaking. I made me a little strap system with bungee cord and hooks. Pretty simple, but I do have enough room to get the lid off and fill it up without taking the bucket down, which is good because of the connection here. I just have to undo 4 of these little snaps here, and I tried it and filled it up. It wasn't too bad. Anyway, project turned out good. Well, that concludes video number 4 of the rabbit cage series. There'll probably be another number 5 when I work on the rest of the shed and try to put some shade panels on the sides and the front that can be removed and taken off. The sun is pretty bad right now, mainly because this sweet gum tree that's there, it's not doing too good. It doesn't have any leaves on it. Probably need to get it cut down. But I'll make it work, even if I have to use some kind of panels or temporary panels or tarp or something just to keep the direct sunlight off. They do have shade on the back half of the cage. So it's not too bad. But I appreciate you watching. Please subscribe to the KCA Ranch and Homestead channel if you haven't. Click the alert bell down there and you'll get notified every time I make one of these Oscar Award winning Emmy, Tony nominee videos with my Samsung Galaxy 8 active. One day I'll be able to afford a real camera Alright, thanks for watching.